Hello, my name's Phill Dobie and I'm a Senior Fellow here at the World Agroforestry Centre. We're here to talk about the drylands of the world, and sometimes that sounds like an obscure, distant part of the world. The fact of the matter is, we're told that about 42% of all of the potentially arable part of the world, or potentially useful part of the world, is dryland. Drylands are clearly areas where there is low and erratic rainfall, where there are frequent droughts, and where agriculture and livestock rearing have had to adapt to very low levels of moisture in the soil. Now, with 42% of the Earth's coverage, that means it's actually very significant for human development. And very importantly, the United Nations Environment Programme tells us that somewhere between 60 and 70% of the drylands are already dangerously degraded. So we have a large amount of the world that we really must take seriously. Now, in these drylands environments, trees bring many, many benefits. Unfortunately, trees have been the first victims of a great deal of the degradation that's happened. So where there used to be quite extensive drylands, forests, and places where animals could use those trees and where farmers could use the trees, those trees have been removed. Now, the benefits that they bring include improving soil fertility, providing timber, providing fuel wood, providing fruit, providing medicinal plants, providing all sorts of other things that people use. And in the drier areas, which are used mainly for pastoralism, in other words for livestock production, the trees themselves are a source of food for the animals. There is tremendous potential for agroforestry in the drylands of the world. What we're seeing is poor families in drylands living in areas where trees have been removed, and this causes them great hardship. They have too little fuel to cook with. They don't have the very many benefits that trees bring. The drylands are distributed across all of the continents of the world. They're predominantly present in South Asia and in Africa. Africa is in fact over 60% drylands. That's after you remove the Sahara and the Kalahari from the equation. The bits that are left are over 60% dryland, so they present a very large part of the environments of Africa. In South Asia, there are very large drylands areas. And in Latin America, even in places like the coast of Peru and some of the high Andean areas, and in the Gran Chaco, in the centre of the continent, there are very, very significant areas of dryland. The World Agroforestry Centre is doing a great deal of work in the drylands of the world, particularly in South Asia and in Africa. We are working, for example, in West Africa to understand better the great successes that farmers have had in reintroducing trees to huge areas of the Sahel. We know that nearly 5 million hectares of the Sahel have been reforested by farmers themselves over about the last 20 years. This is a great success, and we're trying to learn how it's been done, what the benefits are, and how this can be extended to other parts of the world. This is allowing the restoration of what have been described as parklands in the Sahel, where we get this intimate connection between crop production and the trees which have produced the benefits that we're talking about. It's not going too far to say that what we're seeing in the Sahel is a total transformation of the landscape, and that transformation of the landscape is associated with much improved livelihoods for the people. I think the future for agroforestry in the drylands is very rosy. I think there's been so much demonstration of the harm that has been done I think the future for agroforestry in the drylands is very rosy. We now have so much evidence of the harm that's been caused by the removal of trees and the benefits that can be brought about by the reintroduction of trees. And our job in the World Agroforestry Centre is to do the research so that we understand how to best reintroduce trees, how to best use trees as part of farming systems and as part of agro-pastoral systems.